We're back. I can't even like the day off. I can't even take a day off. As you can tell by my excitement level. We're here. We're back. Took a day off. Too much news. Apparently, like Hunter Biden's business partner is going to testify. I can't take a day off. There's no days. But I got to take that. Here's the thing. So please forgive me all because a couple of people understand the audience. It's all about you, this show, right? So a couple of folks, if you go to my website, you can email us and I have someone who answers them. And sometimes we check them out if it's something we need to see personally, right? But they forward most of them. A couple people complain, Dan, you're taking too much time off. Folks, we didn't, Joe, you can vouch for me because you were the first person who worked with me ever. Yeah. We did not take a day off for what, 6 years? Like literally not a day off. Like if Christmas was on a Wednesday, we worked. So I got a lot of catching up to do. I promise I'm not going to make too much of a habit. We're actually going to be off next Monday too, but it's all for family and kids stuff that I can't miss. So my sincere apologies, but I do feel like I've got a lot to get to. I'll show you what I did. Crazy stories out there. A lot to talk about. Blackoutcoffee.com/Bongino. Sponsored the show today. Stop giving your money to woke garbage companies. Don't care about you. Go with a coffee option that tastes great and loves the country. Blackoutcoffee.com/Bongino. Use coupon code Bongino for 20% off your first order. Need a sniff to go. All right, there we go. Now I'm ready to roll. All right, big show today. I'm going to cover, are the walls closing in? Remember the famous line they use about Trump all the time? On Biden. I think Biden's in real trouble. I'm going to give you two reasons with this story here. Real trouble this time. Not legal trouble. No one's going to arrest this guy. He's a Democrat. Democrats don't get arrested. Political trouble because we control the politics because we ultimately vote. I'm going to get to that, and it's time to impeach this guy. Okay? Can we just get it out of the way? Time to impeach. All right, today's show brought to you by InnovationRefunds.com. You may have seen the CEO, Howard Mackler, on TV explaining how they help so many small businesses with their ERC tax refunds. The ERC is the Employee Retention Credit. Every year, the U.S. government sets aside over $1 billion for economic incentives, but it's reported only about 4% is claimed. If you own a business with more than 4 employees, you could have money waiting to be claimed. Innovation Refunds independent tax attorneys are dedicated to helping business owners navigate the complex ERC filing process for different kinds of companies. They also earn the highest coveted SOC2 certification that specifies how trusted organizations should manage customer data in the era of security, processing integrity, confidentiality, and privacy, so they know how to handle serious company and employee information. Innovation Refunds has been helping eligible businesses claim their ERC tax refunds since 2021. They can help your business too. You may be able to do that. Go to innovationrefunds.com and determine eligibility. If you qualify, you could be on your way to receiving money for your business. There's no upfront charge. They don't get paid unless you get paid. Go to innovationrefunds.com, innovationrefunds.com, about 1-843-REFUNDS. That's innovationrefunds.com or 1-843-REFUNDS. All right, Joseph, the long-awaited Tuesday feels like Monday opening because we've missed a lot this weekend. So just a quick update. We are, sir. Yes, we are. And there is a lot going on. So forgive me if I take this brief aside. I don't do a lot of personal stuff. It's usually left to my locals account. But some quick photos, what I was up to this weekend. So I was out in the Exumas, I'm hoping to say in the Bahamas. I'm not really a beachy guy, but I went out with a couple of friends of ours. What is that? Is that the first one you put? There's me and Paula and my daughter Amelia swimming with the sharks there, violating my don't get dead rule. They were nurse sharks. There's me in the pool with the sharks. I didn't get eaten, obviously. I wasn't worried about getting eaten because the guy next to me said, don't worry about don't getting eaten. Getting eaten. They won't eat you today, maybe tomorrow if they get hungry. So I decided to jump in with the sharks. So did everyone else, violating the don't get dead rule. You see that picture of all of us. That's on the Lizard Island. That's me and my dentist and orthodontist friend, both good dudes, and all the kids. We walked on over to the island from the boat. The water's steep. You see those lizards behind us? They look like T-Rexes. That's me and my daughter. The coolest part of that photo, Joe, you look in between us, there's a pig in the water. That's the Swimming Pigs Island over in the Bahamas where the pigs swim out to the boat because everybody gets them food. So lots of sun. Had a good time. I learned some lessons, though. I got to be a better swimmer. It's hard to enjoy like a beachy kind of watery vacation when you're not, I'm not that great of a swimmer, so I got to work on those skills. I learned to swim actually in Secret Service school, and I'm pretty good with the breathing and stuff and all, but I'm just too butt heavy, man. I got to like swim more. So I had to better my swimming. Those guys were great swimmers, so we had a lot of fun. All right, let's get to the serious stuff. That's the weekend update. Are the walls closing in? The Biden family has got a real problem now. For the 1,000th time, I don't really think it's a legal problem. I wish it was. There is nothing I would like to see more than this clown joker and his corrupt kids and family in handcuffs for what they did to screw over the United States. However, we don't live in a fair country. We live in an unfair country where justice is blind to Democrats. They don't see Democrats. But there may be a political penalty to pay. And the reason is the media is getting sick of Biden right now. And it's not because the media's getting sick because they want to do the right thing. No, cut that off. Decapitate that kind of stupidity right away. It's not because the media is trying to do the right thing. It's because the media needs to defend liberalism. And if Joe Biden becomes a liability to liberalism like Jimmy Carter did and David Dinkins, the old mayor of New York, here's the boat, they'll throw him right off. The guy, they don't know what else is out there. So here's what broke yesterday. I was dying to get on the air. I was even going to do a video for this just on my phone to throw out there. One of the business partners to Biden, Devin Archer's, Miranda Devine reports in this explosive piece available in my newsletter, bongino.com/newsletter. It's a New York Post piece. Hunter Biden put then VP Dad on the phone with business associates at least 24 times, according to ex-partner Devin Archer. That sounds to me like a Leo DiCaprio Giphy problem. If you know, you know. You guys know? Do you know that Giphy? You're like, you know the Giphy. Justin, you know the Giphy? You know the Giphy too. That's a problem. That's from Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. That's a problem, folks. It's a problem. Oh, they do it? I love that. That's my favorite. I got to look. There we go. Now we're back to the chat. Hey, let's go, Dan. Good to see you all. Yeah, welcome, everyone. Swamper, Stomper, they have no one. That's true. Swamper, Stomper, you're right. They do have no one. Kamala Harris is the backup. This is a problem for two big reasons. The Devin Archer testimony is going to be really tough for lunatic Democrats to refute because Archer is connected to prominent Democrats outside of the Biden circle. In other words, they can't go, oh, well, that's a Trump lawyer or a Trump-appointed attorney or a Trump-appointed AUSA doing that. This guy's connected to Democrats. From Miranda Devine. I thought Joe Biden never spoke to his son about business. The partner apparently is going to say, according to Miranda Devine, that Hunter Biden would dial his dad in on the phone. Hey, Pop, talk on speaker. You know my business folks, show them how important we all are. Archer, who's facing jail time for his role in a bond fraud, is scheduled to testify next week that Joe Biden, either in person or via speakerphone, when Hunter would call his father and introduce him to foreign business partners or prospective investors, that he witnesses Biden either in person on speakerphone getting involved in the deal. Ladies and gentlemen, there are two big takeaways. This is where you're going to pay attention. It's the most important part of the show. Please don't mean to sound rude, but number one, you have to start thinking to yourself politically again, what's the damage going to be to Biden? Devin Archer, who is connected to Democrats, notably John Kerry, right? What would possibly be this guy's motive for lying in front of Congress about Joe Biden being involved in these business deals? What would possibly be his motive? Another charge for perjury? What would be his motive? The anti-Democrat motive? The guy's connected to Democrats practically his whole life. He's like a lifelong friend of John Kerry's stepson. However, on the motive front, this is the takeaway. Motive. Always think motive. On the motive front, what's Joe Biden's motive for lying about, oh, no, I wasn't part of these business deals? Well, it's obvious. He wants to stay in office for re-election. Biden has a motive to lie. Archer has none. Archer has a motive. Actually, Archer should be lying and isn't.
I smell a deal.
Sounds to me like it.
Yeah.
Here's the second problem. The deuce for the Democrats. There's electronic backup evidence to this, folks. This guy is screwed. Miranda Devine continues in her piece. Devin Archer apparently is going to say, if he shows up, if he makes it that long to this meeting, I'm not suggesting like anything horribly nefarious, although, you can't eliminate anything with these crazy people. I'm just suggesting the guy could change his mind, which sounds like it would be a big mistake at this point. If he shows up and he talks about this meeting that was conducted in Georgetown and this other meeting with Ukrainians, there's an email on the Hunter Biden laptop from a Burisma executive, Vadim Pizarski, thanking Hunter for introducing him to his dad. Quote, "Dear Hunter, thank you for inviting me to D.C. and giving me an opportunity to meet your father and spend some time together," Pizarski wrote. "It's really an honor and a pleasure." There's evidence backing this up, not to mention pictures of Biden at meetings with business associates, people from Kazakhstan and elsewhere. There are trips they took together. There are tapes I've already played for you on the show. There are voicemails left to his son. "Oh, I think you're in the clear now, son." Ladies and gentlemen, there is a mound of evidence backing up Archer's claim. It's not going to be easy for them to walk away. Now, you may be saying in the chat, right, fairly enough, someone saying all Dems are no good, that's all. I get it. Here's the problem, folks. The Dems will lie. They'll make up anything to make this go away. It's not the Democrats that matter anymore. It's convincing a skeptical public. And I want to make one last point on this, too, as I read through your guys' comments in there. Folks, the media will never come clean on this because this is as much a scandal, just like Spygate, about the media. The media knew full well, and the media understood that Joe Biden was involved in an international bribery scheme. The media hid it. That's why the media can never come clean about this story. And I don't think they ever will. However, I want to assure you, not everyone in America is stupid like libs. They're not. There are large swaths of American voters, even on the Democrat side, who are eventually going to turn on this guy. And they have no backup plan. The media wants this guy out. They know he's dead weight at this point. They know the guy's cognitively not there. He's tripping all over himself. He can't speak in normal sentences. And there are mounds of information that this is the single most corrupt piece of human garbage to ever walk in the White House. Folks, they've known about this the whole time. Here, 2014, Wall Street Journal. Biden's son, John Kerry's family friend, joined Ukrainian gas producers' board. Hunter's appointment came a few weeks after Devon Archer. That date's got to be wrong. No way that's 2014. Is that right? That's right? Really? Wow. Man. His appointment came a few weeks after Devon Archer, college roommate of the Secretary of State's stepson, the Heinz Company ketchup heir, Christopher Heinz, joined the board to help the gas firm attract U.S. investors. Folks, these guys are all connected to Democrats. There's no easy way out of this. Keep the heat on. Biden is not going to exit this race. The man is too freaking stupid. He is too arrogant, and he is the perfect example of a stupid, smart person. A guy who thinks he's smart, degreed, and intelligent because of his work history and his education, but is really a moron. Biden will not drop. This is going to be a war of attrition on the Democrats. It's going to take a real black eye to the left. Now, the story gets worse. The story gets worse because it keeps changing. And it's going to enrage the media. They don't know what else is out there. Here, I rarely play three cuts from the same interview, but this is so good with Peter Schweitzer, who's written just a damning expose along with Miranda Devine's Laptop from Hell, which we published, disclosure. But these books are damning. Schweitzer's been all over government corruption forever. He gave just a killer interview with Jesse Waters on Fox. Three short parts of it. But here's the first part, that these guys are absolutely screwed on. Biden's story keeps changing, even though they keep insisting they're telling the same story. The first story, we had nothing to do with business at all. I didn't know anything. The next story is, I wasn't personally involved. Now it's, I wasn't involved directly in the business. This is all, folks, all of it. Here's cut one, Peter Schweitzer, on how the story just can't be true because he keeps telling different stories. Take a listen.
He's going to have to be able to put Joe Biden on phone calls, in meetings. He's going to have to talk about what people knew and when they knew it. What does it tell you now the White House is changing their defense strategy? It's no longer Joe didn't talk about business, it's now Joe wasn't in business.
Yeah, we've been at this since 2018. They initially said there were no foreign deals. Then they shifted and said there might have been foreign deals, but the Bidens made no money. Then it became Joe Biden didn't know about any of the deals. Then it became Joe Biden didn't participate in any of the deals. And now it's that he was not in business with his son.
Folks, listen, man, the media is going to turn on this guy because they're absolutely convinced there is more stuff out there. They're trying to save liberalism. They are never going to do the right thing because they don't know the right thing. People who are just wrong, who have almost sociopathic value systems, don't give a damn about the right thing. They got to protect themselves at this point. And the only way for the media to protect themselves in their role in covering up this massive scandal, the only way to do it is to make Biden go away. The problem is getting through to this idiot's thick skull Biden. He really believes he's the Democrat Messiah. Folks, listen, I know people who know this guy. He is a severely morally compromised, genuinely evil guy. He will lie about anything. If you have any doubt about that, look at his backstory with his family and the story he told afterwards. I'm not saying any more. You look it up yourself, and you'll see exactly what I mean, how this guy has no moral compass at all. He wants power. He has craved power his whole life. He is not going to leave. Here's part two of this. This is the biggest problem of all. Folks, we could be on the cusp of World War III. I've covered for the last month and a half the growing perilous threat of China. That's shamefully, I haven't brought it up in a while. That we're discounting Russia. They have 5,000 plus nuclear warheads. They're currently at war with Ukraine. Like, this is a really big deal. We need to make this stop somehow before it escalates even worse. The conditions are up for debate on what we'd be willing to accept of the Ukrainians. The problem is Biden's already been bribed by people in Ukraine. How do we know Biden's making the right decisions for the country and not the right decisions for Biden, knowing that all this information is out there and the Ukrainians probably have a blackmail file on this guy? Schweitzer may be one of the only people talking about this. Take a listen.
The implications for this are huge, Jesse. If you look at that 1023 form that the FBI released, if that document is true, that document reveals that one of the people that was at those meetings that heard the conversations about bribing the Bidens worked for President Zelensky. Who really wants to believe, if that meeting took place and that document is accurate, that that individual did not go and report to President Zelensky what he heard? And again, if that document is true, who wants to believe that President Zelensky and his administration have not used that as leverage over Joe Biden when it comes to negotiations on Ukraine policy? We may all have to start learning the Ukrainian word for compromise, because this is a very clear indication of how this has shaped this administration's policy towards Ukraine and also towards China.
Folks, I need you to think this through with me for a second. Even if you are the most, and listen, there are various different opinions on the topic. I respect you all. Of course, this is the United States of America. You're free to have any opinion you want on foreign intervention, as long as you're not breaking the law or anything like that and threatening someone else's life. That's fine. Walk me through with this for a second. Let's say there's some major breakthrough. Ukraine fractures the Russian front and winds up taking back pieces of Crimea. And some reasonable peace deal appears on the table where we say, okay, I'm not suggesting this is a good or bad deal. Walk through with me for a second. I'm trying to think of something that would appease both sides. Okay, Ukraine, you'll be admitted to NATO. We're going to give a quarter of this part of Crimea to Russia. Ukraine gets its port back and its eastern territory. The war stops tomorrow. Trade resumes with Russia. That may be a deal that applies to all parties. Some Ukrainians can say, we're not giving any of Crimea away. Fine. The point is, a lot of people would say, well, that sounds like a reasonable deal to avoid nuclear war. The question becomes, here's why I'm asking you to walk through with me. What if someone in Ukraine who has this bribery file and has the damn tapes, the tapes of Biden on the phone talking about all these corrupt deals, some of them I've been playing, what if someone in Ukraine says, no, we're not going there. We're going to take this thing all the way to the end, even if it results in a nuclear war. We want all of our property back. And Biden's like, well, I don't want the tapes out there. Has anybody thought about this? We got a president in office who's currently compromised by a country engaged in a war with a nuclear power we're funding with billions of dollars. Has anybody thought this through on the left, how bad this could get? Holy Moses, man. You understand how awful the situation we're in right now with this clown rotting oatmeal brain in the White House we're in right now? It's perilous. Let me take a quick break. I'm going to get to the shortest part of this interview, but another part that honestly I haven't addressed enough about Hunter Biden and how exactly he made money. Because a famous way to launder money is by doing this one thing. I'll show you what I mean coming up next. Appreciate your patience. The sponsors are here to talk to you. Hey, the Durban Accords, they can impact the U.S. dollar's global dominance of the past 80 years. It's been reported that on August 22nd, Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa may announce the launch of a new international supercurrency fully backed by gold or other commodities. It's believed part of their long-term plan is to supplant the U.S. and the dollar as the cornerstones of the global financial system. How can you protect your IRA or 401k from the potential fallout from this possible landmark announcement? Well, I diversify with gold from Birch Gold Group, used it many times. Historically, gold has been a safe haven in times of uncertainty, which is right now. Get a free information kit on gold IRAs and decide for yourself if a tax-sheltered retirement account backed by physical precious metals is right for you. Text the word DAN to 989898. A monumental shift may be happening among nations that control a third of the world's GDP starting August 22nd. Protect your retirement savings. Text DAN, my first name, to the number 989898. Claim your free information kit on gold from Birch Gold. Performance may vary. Consult with your tax attorney or financial professional before making an investment decision. Message and data rates apply. Good company. I've used them twice. Folks, my prior line of work involved heavily in financial investigations. One of the most popular ways to launder money is, yes, the art world. Sad but true, folks. Art's nice. People love it. Oh, look, it's an impressionist painting or it's brutalist artwork. I always get lost in all these terms. I don't even know what half of them mean. Oh, it's abstract. Well, what does that mean? It means the sun is glistening over the winter snow and it's a skier on it. That's funny. It looks like a booger to me. No, that's not what it is. And you see a white canvas and people look and they go, oh my gosh. It speaks to the emptiness, a void. We all live in a space. Meanwhile, the guy who sold it's like, let me sell a blank slate to these dumbasses and see what they say. Abstract art. So the art world, so listen, some art's really cool. I got a piece up in my house. I always tell people, I paid $55,000 for that piece of art. They're like, really? It looks like some cheap art you got at a fair. It's a joke. I didn't really pay $55,000. When I was buying the house, I wanted $55,000 off because the windows had trouble. The lady said no. I said, all right, leave that piece of art behind and we'll settle on the deal today. So I joke with people all the time. That piece of art cost me $55,000. Probably a $300 piece of art. You could have got it like a garage sale. But hey, it looks cool. So that's it. It is the most popular way, one of them, to launder money. It's so crazy. What world did the Biden family get into next? The art world, where they launder money. It's almost as if the Bidens, when they're not sniffing kids, right? They're sniffing ways to make money in illegal, illicit, potentially illegal ways. Check this out. Here's Peter Schweitzer talking about the art purchases with air quotes. Check this out.
Now, listen to this. Business Insider just revealed one of the people who paid for Hunter's artwork. Her name is Elizabeth Naftali. She's not an art collector at all. She's a Democrat donor, and she's a friend of the Bidens. She donated to the Biden campaign, and Joe appointed her to a cushy government post shortly after Hunter's art show. Does that surprise you, Peter?
No, Jesse, it's the grift. I mean, look, the question that we've always asked and that I know you've asked is, what is the Biden's business? They're getting all this money from overseas. They're getting all this money for artwork that, frankly, is not worth $500,000. What is the business? What's the product? The product is Joe Biden. Let's remember, with Burisma, the Ukrainian energy company, Hunter Biden was getting $83,000 a month when his father was vice president of the United States. When his father became the ex-vice president of the United States, Hunter's take from Burisma was cut in half. So everybody knows what the product is and why this was being done. And the Democrats, I think, that continue to cling to the notion that there's nothing here, there's nothing to see, are making a big strategic mistake in my mind.
Yep, they're getting hung out to dry.
Yes, they are getting hung out to dry. What a grift this is. The guy puts art out to his blowhole, like nose stripe blows. What does he blow his nose on the thing or something? I was reading this. It's like, I don't know jack shit about art. I'm sorry. But the guy put like a straw up his nose and he's blowing out paint or something. I don't know what else is coming. But I got an idea. I just thought it. Since he's getting $500K, I have art too. Hold on. Remember this art?
Uh-oh. This is scary.
No, this is good, Joe. We're going to make a lot of money. I want to sell this, okay? This is my famous, it aired on Fox. Sell this for $500,000 because this actually took creativity and skill. Rump goes to a job to make money. Don't be a bum. I will sell this for $500,000 and donate it to charity. I promise. I will. If you then for 20 and draw the same thing on a whiteboard. But seriously, man, it's the biggest scam ever. Guy puts like a thing, starts blowing paint all over. Oh my gosh, look at that. 500,000. Who, besides, Joe, what kind of a scale? Like, that's like a loser, like when we were cops, like scales, because they were such losers, and you couldn't think of, like, you want to call them like really bad words. What kind of a scale, right? You go in their house and like, hey, look at that abstract painting. It's a picture of the morning rooster on the morning rooster. It looks to me like a red blowhole bottom of the thing. No, it's the head of the rooster at the right angle. It speaks to the agrarian values of the halcyon days of when the old Team Biden grew up on. And you're like, holy shit, that looks like just a big red dot. And then you wonder when someone goes, oh, okay, maybe I accept your stupid explanation. But then they go, oh, by the way, and it's an original. It's a Hunter Biden. Oh, and everybody's like, what? There you go. Thank you. What the hell are you thinking? Oh, it's a Hunter Biden? It's an original Hunter Biden? The guests at the party must be thinking, is that the crack guy? Is that the prostitutes UFC guy? Leg in the air, Like, was that a leg? What's going on there? Is that a... You ever see Goodfellas? Joe, you ever see when they're stuffing the dead guy in the trunk?
Oh, yeah.
Look, it's an arm.
Yeah,
It's a leg. It's a wing. You ever see the Hunter Biden laptop? You're like, what is that? Is that an arm? Is that an appendage? What exactly is it? Is that a leg? What's going on there? Why is there a leg where there a head should be? What's going on? Oh, look, it's a Hunter Biden. Wow, this is so great. So wonderful.
Yeah, I like the velvet clown stuff myself. Yeah.
You're going to fit right in Florida, brother.
Thank you, bro.
It's going to be true. We should not all be in the same studio together. This is going to be very bad. Folks, but hopefully by the end of the year, we'll all be together in the studio with multiple cameras. Hopefully. This is going to be big trouble. Okay? This is not going to be good. The show is going to degenerate badly into just a total mess, but a good mess. Like with that, was that Diamond Rio? What a beautiful mess we're in. Listen, before I get to the next one, we got it, because I'm telling you, the story's going to get even uglier. On a very serious note, it's time to impeach this guy. I am very careful with that, to the chagrin of many in my audience. But you got to remember, you still got to go through a trial in the Senate, which right now we'll lose. We don't have the votes. So why do it? Because, folks, listen, the Democrats have set a new standard for impeachment. We now have enough evidence that this guy committed high crimes and misdemeanors. And if the Democrats want to go on the record before an election that this guy should be the president in a trial, with the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court, a Senate trial, with all the evidence that's going to come out, let him do it, man. It is way past time to impeach this guy. And I have not been hysterical on that. You know that in the audience. I'm telling you, some of the listeners don't like it. We should impeach anyway. No, you got to be tactical about it. But cutesy time is over. They impeached Trump for BS nonsense in Ukraine when he was trying to get to the truth. Now we've got the truth, and it's a real impeachment. The catch is it's Biden. Oh, hell yes. Justin said it was impeachable before this information. Absolutely. Now you got this. It's a business partner's coming forward. A business partner already came forward. We already had Bob Alinsky. Justin's right. This is the second business partner. How many more freaking business partners you need? Remember the Ben Affleck, Jack Ryan movie? We already had a first strike. There's already been a first strike. All right, 2 more quick videos. And the biggest stooges in the story. I'm going to show you this killer video by the media. This is good stuff. I promise. I found this morning. And it made me think of how important censorship is to them. How important to make this thing go away because they know how bad it is. All right, you tired of the same old monotonous liberal-flavored coffee brands? Just stop. Don't give your money to these crap companies. Go with my favorite. Got a mid-show sniff of the blackout coffee. It's not a weird Joe Biden sniff. It's a blackout coffee sniff. Why? It smells like America and coffee in there. They had 2A on the front. That's not Section 2A. That's the Second Amendment. Why? Because the guy who owns the company cares about 2 things, the country and coffee. He loves the country more than anything, but he loves his coffee too. Blackout coffee. Folks, everyone I recommend this to loves the coffee. I give it to my neighbors. I give it to my friends. They're customers for life. The roasting process, customer support. Blackout Coffee has an unmatched work ethic. They are here to impress you with the quality of their coffee. They love conservative principles. They accept no compromise on taste or quality. Do me a favor, check them out. blackoutcoffee.com/Bongino. Use coupon code Bongino for 20% off your first order. This coffee tastes great. They love America. Ditch those other guys. Blackout Coffee, Blackout Coffee, Blackout Coffee. The website, blackoutcoffee.com/Bongino. Use coupon code Bongino for 20% off your first order. Send me your reviews. You're going to love it. Tastes like coffee, like real coffee. Our last sponsor today, ZipRecruiter. You're hiring, you're currently dealing with economic uncertainty. That's an issue, right? And now more than ever, it's important to hire the right people faster and more efficiently to keep overall costs down. Thankfully, there's a hiring partner focused on you and your needs, ZipRecruiter. From pricing to tech, to technology, everything that ZipRecruiter does is for you and what works best for you. And right now, you can try them for free. Here's a website, ZipRecruiter.com/Bongino. Give it a shot. Don't play second best to someone else in this HR space. With ZipRecruiter, you get straightforward pricing so you know what you pay before posting your job. And you reach more qualified people because ZipRecruiter sends your job post to 100+ job sites. Who's better than you? With ZipRecruiter, you find great candidates fast as ZipRecruiter's smart technology identifies the best matches for your job. Hire the best with the help of a partner who's all about you. ZipRecruiter. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Just go to this exclusive web address to try ZipRecruiter for free. ZipRecruiter.com/Bongino. Again, that's ZipRecruiter.com/Bongino, Bongino. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. Thanks a lot, folks. These sponsors keep the show free for you. I appreciate them. They appreciate being here talking to you. So thanks so much. Just let's quickly wrap up the story before I get to the next, the other stooges in this whole thing. Karine Jean-Pierre, anyone? Every day, anyone changing?
Sucks.
Joe? No? E? Justin? Anyone? No? Still say. Here's Karine Jean-Pierre. Notice the shift in the story, Joe. The story before was Sergeant Schultz, right? I know nothing. I don't know nothing about nothing. Joe Biden never talked to his son about business. He, quote, there's not a single solitary thing, I'll play that for you a second, piece of evidence that Joe Biden did business with his son. Listen to the shift in the story now because they're about to get. Now the story is, they were never in business. Also, they may have talked about business, but they were never in business. Here's the dance. Check this out.
Chairman James Comer today says that the Oversight Committee, has evidence that the president in the past communicated directly with foreign business associates of his son Hunter Biden many times. curious if the White House and the president still stand behind his comment that he's never been involved and has never even spoken to his son about his. So I've been asked this question a million times. The answer is not going to change. The answer remains the same. The president was never in business with his son. I just don't have anything else to add.
I know nothing.
Dude, she is totally Sergeant Schultz again. But my favorite part of this clip, because you guys see it before we get on the show, is she's such a horrendous liar. This is why she's no good at this. Jen Psaki, who hopefully we'll get to later in the show in a different clip. Psaki, Peppermint Patty, I don't even know if this is a compliment or not. She was a very good liar.
Oh, yeah.
She was very quick on her feet. She'd lie about anything, but it was believable, right? Again, I'm not sure that's a compliment. Maybe this is a compliment. Karine Jean-Pierre is just not a good liar. She's just really shitty at this. I don't know any other way to say it. She's like, I've answered this a million times, unnecessary hyperbole, number one. And then she goes, and the story's not going to change. She didn't need the qualifier because the qualifier sets up the lie because she changed the story. The story was he never discussed business with his son. There was no evidence of that at all. So now she draws attention. Maybe I'm getting a little too deep in this. Now she's drawing attention to the fact that she changed the story by insisting the story never changed. It's the I never beat my wife problem. She created this. Here's what I mean. Now she's saying the story is they were never in business because that's not the story. The story they told before is there's not a single piece of evidence that they ever had anything to do with each other. Take a listen yourself.
The president's accusation against you stems from your son, Hunter Biden, working on the board of an energy company in Ukraine while you were vice president. Do you agree that that could at least create the appearance of a conflict?
Look, what I agree is with that there's not a single solitary thing anyone said that was done wrong. I don't discuss business with my son. I didn't know that was the case when in fact I found out after the fact. And because I don't discuss things with my son and my family, because I don't want to have any knowledge of any, I don't want to be accused of, well, you talk with your son or you talk with your whomever. And so the fact is, though, everybody's looked at that. He did nothing wrong. Zero. Period.
Never talked about it, not a single piece of evidence. He did nothing wrong, not a single thing, period. The story's over, folks. It's over. Impeach this guy now. Impeach him now. Get every Democrat senator on the record during a re-election cycle for many, but not all of the senators, but a lot of them. Get him on the record now. Get him on the record now that you want this guy to continue as president, this corrupt, rotting bag of oatmeal, this disgrace, not just to the United States, but to humankind. An embarrassing, moral-free, ethics-free, life loser who holds no redeeming characteristics at all. The biggest stooges in this whole story, however, are two people. One's a group of people, one's a person. The biggest stooge in this is Obama. Obama knew, folks. You're telling me this went on while Joe Biden was vice president and Obama didn't know? Give me a freaking break, please. Of course Obama knew. And he let it happen. I'll be focusing on that more in the coming days and weeks. But the second stooge in this, or group of them, are the media. They absolutely knew about this corruption and covered it up, and that's why they will never come clean. I want you to remember this. This is how disgusting, garbage, filth, human waste these people are. These media goons will attack conservatives for disinformation when they speak the truth. Meanwhile, when the media lies, they will never attach that label to themselves. Remember this clip? Was it University of Chicago? Was a student over there? He asked journalist Ann Applebaum about the Hunter Biden case at the time, which was real. Remember this answer? Check this out.
I'm Daniel Schmidt. I'm a freshman at the University of Chicago. My question is for Ms. Applebaum. So in 2020, you wrote, those who live outside the Fox News bubble do not, of course, need to learn any of the stuff about Hunter Biden, referring to his laptop, of course. A poll later after that found that if voters knew about the content of the laptop, 16% of Joe Biden voters would have acted differently. Now, of course, we know a few weeks ago, the New York Times confirmed that the content is real. Do you think the media acted inappropriately when they instantly dismissed Hunter Biden's laptop as Russian disinformation? disinformation, and what can we learn from that and ensuring that what we label as disinformation is truly disinformation and not reality?
My problem with Hunter Biden's laptop is I think it's totally irrelevant. I mean, it's not whether it's disinformation or, I mean, I don't think the Hunter Biden's business relationships have anything to do with who should be president of the United States. So I don't find it to be interesting. I mean, that would be my problem with that as a major news story.
They don't have anything to do with who should be president of the United States, even when the guy running for president is a key player, i.e. the chairman, according to business partners, of a major international corruption scheme, you imbecile. Now, why am I playing this clip of this specific lady when there are hundreds of media people who said the same thing? It's a conspiracy theory. Because it's Ann Applebaum who sits on an advisory panel of the Disinformation, whatever, Governance Inc. group or Disinformation Inc. that gets to create exclusionary lists about who can advertise on the internet and who can't. Here, New York Post. This is from 2023. Left-wing disinformation groups rake in cash with a blacklist of conservative news outlets. Folks, we live in the freaking dark ages where a bunch of star chamber propagandist liar tyrants like Applebaum and others get to sit on a lofty pedestal and ban all of us deplorable smellies from revenue on the internet, from having our website seen, from being allowed to speak on Twitter, while lying to the population over and over. If this sounds like an Orwellian nightmare, that's because it is. And to companies playing along with these exclusionary lists, you should be freaking ashamed and embarrassed that you are playing into this tyranny. You are the useful idiots history has warned about. I want you to know that, and I will never forget this, and nor should any other conservative, that you have been on the right side on the war for freedom and liberty and free speech and big R, God-given rights, while the left scum, these tyrant Soviet propagandists, lied to your face. Here's Applebaum again. Look at this series of tweets. Here's her creeping up again. It's not just on the Hunter Biden case. Someone Asin or whatever, emphasize the ass part of that one. Tom Cotton reiterates his suggestion that the coronavirus originated at a super lab in Wuhan, which it did February of 2020. Here's Ann Applebaum quote tweeting it. Wow, just like the Soviet propagandists who tried to convince the world that the CIA invented AIDS. Oh, really, Ann? That's fascinating, as Stephen Miller put out there. Hey, guys, where are we on this one about Ann Applebaum's tweet? Are we at Kevin Williamson level groveling for apology and a firing, or no? Biden administration moves to ban funding for Wuhan lab.
Oh.
Isn't it? Justin thinks that's the headline of the year. Ann, where are we? What are we doing about it? Has there been an apology? Did we miss it? Been an apology issue? Yeah, you should look up her husband, by the way, and the whole Ukrainian, the Russian pipeline thing. We covered that months ago. That's fascinating. Also explains the Democrats. Wait, do you understand why now they're married to information control and information laundering? Information control and laundering is the only way these people will prevent themselves from being exposed as the communist human scum they are. That's why they have to censor you. It also explains the war on RFK, running for president against Biden. I don't vote for Democrats. I don't support RFK. I support his ability to speak. It's not the same thing. Some guy on Facebook sent me a message. Listen, I'm very sensitive to your criticism of the show because the show's for you, even if it's one person. Dan, I can't believe you're promoting this guy. For the 1,000th time, I promote free speech. I don't care if you're a liberal, a Democrat, even a communist, as long as you're not breaking the law. The attempt to block this guy out and shut him up, RFK and the Democrat side, because it challenges the media's information laundering scheme, is disgusting. Here's Peppermint Patty, a much more skilled liar, now lying on MSNBC full-time, attacking RFK Jr., even though he's a fellow Democrat. Because why? He insults their information control thing by saying what he wants to say, regardless of the fallout. Take a listen to this.
Or maybe it's really not about RFK Jr. at all, but instead about Joe Biden. Like that saying goes, the enemy of my enemy is my friend. That may make more strategic sense, but it would be incredibly cynical if Republicans were elevating a conspiracy theorist who spews false and inaccurate lies, some that could even be damaging to the public and public health, just to create trouble for their political opponent. I mean, that would be a leap, even for the right, to embrace a candidate enamored with conspiracies, just as a means to advance their own political objectives. They've never sunk that low before, or have they?
Do you accept that President Obama was born in the United States, is not Muslim?
I really don't know. His father was with Lee Harvey Oswald prior to Oswald being...
Democrats, here's a warning for you. I have Democrats who listen to this show. I get their emails. They will come for you next. If you think for a second the media, the propaganda scum out there, you think for a second they're here to protect the Democrat Party and you're in it, you are wrong. You're in the wrong gang. What's that? They're not here to protect you. They're here to protect liberalism. They will throw you overboard in a second. This gaslighting, information laundering doesn't just stop here either. It transfers directly to their global warming nonsense too. Ladies and gentlemen, the Democrats this year just discovered this phenomenon. Joe, it's a serious thing. It happens once in every so often, like Halley's Comet. I don't know if you've heard of it. He and Justin, you may not have heard of this. Justin's young. I don't know if he's seen this before. It's called summer. It happens occasionally. Have you heard of this, guys? Rarely, but the Democrats just discovered this. So they just discovered that. I know, Joe, it's a lot. Hold on. Joe's like, I know. I went down and visited Florida. That's where Joe was. And it was this weird thing. It's a sensation. It was like there was water on my skin. I don't know what happened. Joe's confused, so give him some time. He's trying to adjust. You know, Guy's like, I don't know. I'm new to this. Justin's like, you know, I lived in Florida my whole life. And I've seen it once in a while, a couple of days here and there. Can we get a fact check? I know. Bill McCarthy. Guy wants a fact check on this. Glenn Kessler, we're going to get 4 Pinocchios. Summer is a unique for them. Dems just discovered this summer, of course. They love summer. Summer's a new thing now. So the gaslighting scheme is on. They need the summer heat we've had this year, which is unusual, but not highly unusual. They need it to promote their propaganda. Here's the worst governor in the country next to Katie Hobbs, so the second worst, Inslee. Here's Jay Inslee summing it up. They want to come after your appliances now to say that summer's causing the global warming nonsense, right? So here's Inslee trying to tie this whole thing together like, hey, we got to keep this grift going. This stuff creates all kinds of jobs, making people throw out perfectly good appliances and build new ones that people hate. You ever try to wash your clothes these days in an efficient washer? You got to wash them 3 times. You ever tried a dishwasher? Same thing. Look at this idiot.
And again, the good news is all around my state, I can't turn over a rock without seeing new jobs associated with clean aviation fuel, with new types of batteries. It's very exciting what's going on right now in inventing a new economy. And we're doing that right in Washington State, and people are getting great jobs because of this. So there's 2 parts to this story. This thing is now the age of consequences. The bomb has gone off, but we do have the ability to restrain fossil fuels if we make the commitments we need to. And I'm glad that we're in a state that's doing that.
You see how he fits this? Listen, I know that clip, it's not like going to set the world on fire, but I picked that clip for a reason. Because he fits the 2 scams in there. Scam number 1, that this is some big moneymaker. So just to be clear, folks, getting rid of fossil fuels for solar, wind, and other kinds of renewables is so profitable that only the government figured it out. That's a good one. That's really funny. And second, the bomb went off. It's over. We're all going to die. It's over. We don't get rid of fossil fuels. We got 10 more years left. That's why they want you to throw out your appliances. Folks, do not do it. Your water heaters, your air conditioners. The Biden administration is making this move towards green appliances. Here's the kicker. They don't work. You have to wash your clothes 100 times. You ever go to a low flow faucet in an airport? You got to wash your hands for like 2 hours to get the soul. What's the freaking point? You need a volume of water to remove soap from your hands. Whether it happens in a minute or 30 seconds, it doesn't matter. dumb shits on the left don't seem to understand that. Here's Karine Jean-Pierre on why we need to start banning new appliances, including water heaters. But don't worry, fellas, it's not going to happen until 2029. She says it like it's 3029. It's just a few years away. Take a listen.
So from this administration, we've seen them go after gas stoves, air conditioning units with regulation, refrigerators, washing machines, dishwashers, now water heaters. How many more home appliances will Americans eventually have to replace then because of regulation?
So just to be clear, when it comes to water heaters, and it is proposed what has been put forward, and if it is enacted, it would not take it into effect until 2029. So let's not forget that. So we want to make sure that we have the facts out there.
These guys are laughing over you because it's like we've got a massive inflation crisis still going on. We've got the potential for a China invasion of Taiwan. We've got a war going on in Ukraine. We've got a border crisis, a crime crisis going on. And this is what they're worried about, banning your water heater? This is it. You want to talk about the definition of a useful idiot, Joe Biden is it. It's the only reason even some people in the media are still defending this rotting bag of oatmeal. Here's their real plan, however. You see this LA Times headline? Would an occasional blackout, help solve climate change? This is the head. Oh, yeah, occasional would also kill a bunch of people who rely on oxygen machines and air conditioning because they're elderly. But who knows? Who really cares? We whack a few dozen people here and there. What's the big deal, right? Would an occasional blackout help solve climate change? This is the Great Reset. This is it in action right here. Starve us out. Freeze us out. You will all own nothing. You will plant your lips on our asses, and we will give you from each according to their abilities to each according to their needs. The old communist line right there. Now, here's this Patrick Moore at EcoSense Now on Twitter. It's a good account here. Regarding the ridiculous claims of the summer's been hot, but the hottest days in the history of the planet, he notes it's instructive to note the planet is more than just 150 years old. It's like, wow, I didn't know that. He says it's 4.6 billion years old because it's true. And we're in an interglacial period of the Pleistocene Ice Age today. Here's the global temperatures for the past 500 million years. Wow, look at that. Seems to have been a whole lot hotter. So crazy. I thought this summer, when the Democrats discovered summer for the first time, was the hottest it's ever been ever in the history of humankind. Here's a dude. The science, right? Trust the science, he says. No. Only trust the science when it comports with your stupid narrative. That's the Democrat side. Trust this science, not that science. Here's a guy I used to have on my Fox show a lot, good dude, Mark Morano. He was on Fox with Stuart Varney. They got into a little back and forth about this. Here, Mark Morano sums it up perfectly about these heat waves. They aren't even new now. We've had bigger heat waves. This is all nonsense. Don't believe the hype with them trying to get rid of your hot water heater because we had summer. It's not a new phenomenon. Take a look.
Heat waves grip 3 continents as climate change warms Earth, end quote. Mark Morano from the Climate Depot joins me now. We just heard from Casey Stegall. In Phoenix, they had 19 straight days above 110 degrees. Now, wait, you're a climate skeptic. Is this not the result of climate change?
This is not outside the normal bounds of hot summer weather. Yeah, it's a record year. It could be one of the hottest. But here's the thing. Joe Biden's EPA has a chart of the heat wave index going back to the 1930s. The 1930s are probably 8, 10, 12 times hotter in the United States than anything we're currently seeing. 75% of all state temperature records were broken before the 1950s. These records still stand. Now, this is a way that the statistics, when you heard things like CNN, New York Times, others have said this is the hottest in Earth's history, those were based on climate models, which even the NOAA, National Oceanic Atmospheric Administration, backed away from. They are weaponizing hot summer heat waves to turn it into some kind of climate action. This is not outside the bounds of normal weather. I'm sorry.
Folks, it's not even abnormal in the last 100 years, man. It's called summer. It happens once in a while. Holy Moses, man. Get used to it. Hey, I want to end with this one thing. Go to the tweets, the last story, all the way to the end, the tweet and then the Wall Street Journal story. Run a little out of order. Again, just quickly, folks, you're never wasting your time on this show. the Dan Bongino liberalism equals cannibalism theory, how liberalism will eventually eat itself alive because you're fighting for a fixed set of spoils, whereas in capitalism, you're always expanding the pie. You're not fighting for 8 slices of pizza because the 8 slices of pizza multiply into 16 and 32, so there's never a fight. Liberalism and communism, it's a fixed pie. Once you're done with the 8 slices, everybody starves. So I've had this theory for a while that liberals will eventually start eating themselves alive. Here again, more evidence. Eric Adams, we got to protect our immigrants, period. Yes, New York will remain a sanctuary city under an Adams administration. That was Eric Adams in 2021. Eric Adams today. Eric Adams declares a state of emergency over New York's immigration crisis. We didn't ask for this. There was never any agreement to take on the job of supporting thousands of asylum seekers. You see how the liberal interest groups and the liberal mayor are now starting to eat themselves alive? What about this? Wall Street Journal. A Northeast progressive cage match. Liberal New Jersey suing liberal New York. Why? New York wants a commuter tax that's going to affect people from New Jersey commuting into New York. And New Jersey's like, wait, that's our money. You're not wasting your time, folks. Let's give it time. Eventually, they'll eat themselves alive. Thank you so much for tuning in. Please join us every day with the chat. It's so good to be back with you. I missed you all. Rumble.com/Bongino. Do me one favor. Click that follow button. It's free. You'll get a notification when we go live. It comes right on your phone. Download the Rumble app. It's even easier. It's in the App Store. We really appreciate it. Rumble.com/Bongino or the Rumble app. Join us every day. Show goes live at 11 a.m. Eastern time. Set up a free account. No problem. Met a bunch of people on vacation. Told them to do it. And then they love it. They're going to, I think I saw one. Oh, do you like the wide shot in the chat? Oh, that's, do you like that? It's up on the screen now. Chat room people, Guy's going to follow the answers afterwards. Do you like that? We got a 2-shot in now to kind of switch up the camera angle. You all dig that, or you want us to go back to straight on? Do you let us know? If you're in the chat, you guys decide the show because it's your show. All right. Justin, keep your eye on this because I'm curious too. Keep your eye on this. Okay, good. A lot of you. Okay, cool. And then you can always join the chat early at 10 a.m. Eastern time. Justin and Guy answer all your questions. I pop in about 10 minutes early too. I think I'm at the Bongino Show or what. You'll see me in there. Thanks again, folks. I'll see you back here tomorrow.
You just heard the Dan Bongino Show.